So I feel that I haven't had my, fun yet. I feel that I still have more to say. I feel that, there are things that I wanted to say more, before we end the day. And so one of the things that, keeps on bugging me is that what if, I am just, all bark and no bite. So basically that idea. So what if that is exactly what I am? What if I am all bark and no bite? And, of course, well, there's the thing that, there's also the subject of about hard work and, you know, doing your best at school and all of that stuff. But let's consider the possibility that what if, you know, my body, my natural talents, my inherent talents are just more suited to being all bark and no bite. So, what I'm talking about is the possibility that maybe some people are just born to be all bark and no bite, while some people are born with a good bite. You see what I mean? So it is something like that idea because you know we shame people who are all bark and no bite, but what about those that are just born that way, whose talents and you know excuse me, what about those people whose talents are much more suited for that line of work, that line of idea? So their talents are just more suited for, barking, but they themselves do not really have a powerful bite. It's all just for show. And yeah, basically, whatever it is that I am doing. So I am not that smart. I am not really, that good at anything. So I don't think that I have that many skills that I can present to anybody. I'm not that smart at math, and you know, I'm also not that competent in science. What else is there? So maybe there's the idea of philosophy and all of that stuff, but you know, it all just feels so baloney, right? I understand that, everything has a place in this world, but you know, it just feels that, you know, people like me who aren't really, who are all bark and no bite. So, you know, people who are good at math, people who are good at science, these are people who have the bite, people who have what it takes to physically, make a change in the world compared to us who are just trying to talk, our way out of a situation. So, you see, when people come to me and, I have to argue with them, I don't really have I don't really have something that can prove them wrong except for my wits. So I try to outsmart them with my wits. I try to pray that they don't see the logic in my reasoning. They don't see the gaps or the flaws, in my arguments with them. And that's the best that I could do. It's not really concrete, and it's not really life changing like something with accounting or law and all of those stuff. So, yeah, it really, bugs me. Like, what if that's really where my talents lie? What if my talents lie on things that aren't really that important in the world, for a lack of better phrase, or for a lack of a better description for it. What if my talents lie on the things that aren't really, you know, necessary for the world, but rather are just sort of, a luxury, or maybe not even a luxury, just it's just not that important for society. And for sure people are going to say that that is not true. Maybe that is not true, but that is also the reality of where we are right now. That is, the life that we are living. So you can say that it is not true, but it is also what I am currently living at. So I do believe that, you know, I try to look at the other side as well. Like, I see my own potential and all of that stuff. But really, it goes back to this idea that really, what if all of this is just, you know, wishful thinking on my part? Like, this is just all bark, but there really is no bite to it. If I were to be put to the test, I really couldn't bite. I really couldn't perform, and I just really cannot deliver what needs to be delivered when it comes to the important stuff. And that's just scary stuff, because I think everybody wants to, be of use to the world. I believe that everyone wants to serve other people. If everyone just had, the skills that they want, if everyone could just materialize whatever it is that they want, I am sure that people would serve every other people. If people do not have the problems with resources, do not have problem with, understanding, I believe that people would serve other people instead of bringing harm to their neighbors. So that is my issue. So I am not able to deliver something that can help my neighbors. And yeah, that is really scary. So again, the main point of this is, what if we're just all bite and no bark? What if I am just all bite and all bark and no bite? So yeah, I guess that's really scary. And yeah, I guess that I will end my, what do you call that? Was it a declamation of some sort? Is this what this is? So yeah, I guess that will be for this talk. So see ya. Wait, won't end. Anyways, thanks guys.